Actual laps or ones on the PlayStation? This one was a 10-hour race at Road America driving a Chump Car. I happen to know the guy who built it, a couple guys together, all really great guys, had an opening for the weekend and says, look, we're gonna do this 10-hour deal. We know you're, freelancer journalist. I said, oh, hell yeah, I wanna do this. This is gonna be awesome. So I work with my editor and say, hey man, I've got this opportunity. Can you, do this for me? And he says, well, I can't really pay you. I have no budget in the next 6 months. I said, okay. Can you run it anyway? Because I really want to do this. And I'm willing to do this pro bono to have this awesome Chump Car experience at Road America. Driving somebody else's car in a wheel-to-wheel race that I have no bones in, no money in, is pretty cool. So like, all right, let's do this. So I call Jimmy, and I'm very excited. I've got, high confidence, like this is gonna be awesome. And Jimmy is very business-like. I've known Jimmy for a while, and Jimmy's a really nice guy. He will, will help you with anything, but now he's being very serious. So for me, this is a little weird, because I've known Jimmy for a while, and he's very serious. He says, Eric, how many laps have you done at Road America? I said, actual laps or ones on the PlayStation? And he says, no, actual laps. I said, well, maybe about 50. It's not a lot. Okay, 50 is not a lot of laps at Road America. And he says, how much wheel-to-wheel racing have you done, Eric? I had to admit I haven't done any of that. I've done a lot of time trial things. I've done a fair amount of things at Road America or other places. And my confidence is ticking down, like, okay. And he goes, well, it's going to be very imperative you know how to drive Road America. It's very tricky. And I said, how are we expected to do? I mean, do we have a competitive car? And he goes, yes, Eric, we're expected to be very competitive. I got off the phone with him and realized I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have no clue what I just got myself into. Jimmy has just kind of put the fear of God into me. This field started at about 110 cars, which is a lot. Although Road America is a very large track, so it can accommodate many cars, but that's still a lot of cars to contend with. And I'm watching tech go by, and I'm watching people, and I'd never been to a Chump Car. I'd seen them before, but I'd never actually been to one. And there is all sorts of you name it kind of cars, and they're all kind of clapped together. However, they all have to pass tech. I show up to the driver's meeting like by the skin of my teeth and realized I'm not dressed. I have no shame and proceeded to pretty much in the driver's meeting as they're doing the driver's meeting, because if you don't go to driver's meeting, you don't get to race. Well, to hell with it. Pants off, shirt off, flame retardant pants, flame retardant shirt, do the whole bit, kind of pretty much in front of everybody. And a friend of mine looked over at me and says, I've been there, don't worry about it. The way Chump Car works is you get like a dollar limit. You're allowed to do any safety thing you want, but you can only do a couple things before you start getting penalized. So our car probably weighed 2,400 pounds. I mean, absolutely nothing in the car. Brand new engine, brand new transmission that they had just rebuilt. He says, Eric, I'm gonna go first. You're gonna go third. I said, okay, no problem. And each one you get a job, and the car could run about an hour and 45. We had a radio man, so everybody had a job. These 10 hours were not dinking around. I mean, yeah, you had a lot of free time because they would just, you would just cycle laps. And I'm getting more and more nervous as we're going on because I've never done wheel-to-wheel. I've never driven this car at all, let alone at speed, let alone in the wet. I mean, just, tick, 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 right? Jimmy gets done, he comes back, everything's great. And we're in 6th place. The field had gone from 110 to about 98, 99, 95, whatever, somewhere cars, and still a lot of cars. I'm ready to go. I got my helmet, and I'm very excited to go out there. Mind you, never been in this car before. And when you're in a Hans device, this is the old school Hans device. I get in the car, strap me down. I can't see anything. I can see about this much. I can see out the windshield. I can see the top of the steering wheel. And if I look real carefully, I can see the shifter. And Jimmy's up to me and he's like, all right, the car's still running, and he's yelling at me, okay, here's where everything is. All right, you're on off here, wipers here, starters here, powers here, Got it? No. Go! So I did my best, John Force impression out of it. And my first turn, Road America, is a very long straightaway where you hit, some of those cars were hitting probably 120, 140. I mean, these are 15, 20-year-old cars. These guys are coming full bore, and now you got to merge with them. And that first turn was real hairy. This ain't your car. So don't do anything stupid, A, to embarrass yourself, and B, ruin everybody else's race, because that's no fun for anybody. And I ended up having a battle for like 3 laps with this TR7 who had this rat that they had rigged up the brake light out of the trunk. So the brake light would come out of this rat's mouth, and we would pass each other back and forth around corners and stuff, and I just thought that was endless fun. And I don't remember my lap 6 through like my lap 22. I have a large gap in time. Like, I don't remember it at all. I just kind of got into the zone where you're just shift, and I have a pulled tendon in this arm, and the transmission was rebuilt, so it was very, very tight. And by towards the end, my arm was starting to hurt, and I had watched a lot of racing in my day, but did not realize that there were other flags that I was unaware of. I was like thinking, oh, what did I do? They're pointing at me, and they're waving a flag. It's a black flag with an orange circle in the middle of it. I later found out that it's called the meatball. And the meatball flag is the flag that will tell you that there's something wrong with your car and you need to get it fixed, otherwise they're going to black flag you totally. One of the zip ties to the fan to the radiator had gotten loose, so they had to, it was kind of dragging on the ground. And they said, don't worry, Eric, there's nothing wrong with you. You did fine, you did great. So I get done, I'm very happy, I did not crash, and my big thing was don't embarrass yourself, just don't ruin everybody's day. And so I jump out of the car and I'm kind of nervous. I said, Jimmy, how did I do? And he goes, you did fine. And I looked at my times, and everybody else in our team was much, much faster than I was. But I had a great time, and they said, look, you came in, you left the pits in 6th place. I said, okay, well, you're going to tell me where I came in, right? He goes, you came in 6th place. I said, that is fantastic. And he says, your lap times were within a 1/10 of each other. Almost every single lap, you were within a 1/10. Ding, 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 ding. All 30 some odd laps you ran, with a couple exceptions, and the meatball one being one of them. He says, and you were consistent all the way through. I said, all right, cool. Jimmy gets another stint in the car. So I get a call from the radio. I'm not feeling well. What do you mean not feeling well? I feel sick. Okay. And then suddenly we're scrambling. We're not sure what's going on. We're thinking he's getting carbon monoxide poisoning from something. I didn't feel it. Jimmy didn't feel it the first time. The other driver didn't feel it. Randy didn't feel it. We don't know what's happening. So we say, Jimmy, can you just one more lap? That's like 3 minutes or so. Can you do one more lap? And he says, sure. He comes in, and I scoop him under the arms, and with all my might heave. And he's probably, at the time, probably 200 pounds or so. And, I heave with all my might to get him out of this car. He proceeds to spend the next 30 minutes just laying on the pit wall, breathing in and out. We think he got some sort of poisoning. We don't know how or why that happened. But he eventually got better, and we ran the rest of the race. Now, the interesting thing, though, is the transmission that was brand newly rebuilt took a crap on us and locked 4th gear. That's all we had. We only had 4th gear. That was it. And we came in for an hour stop to try and fix it, and we got back out there. You could hear the tone of the car, because at Road America there's this huge carousel, which is known as the differential killer, because all the fluid goes to one side, and you're hanging on for dear life on this one side. And we get into the pit, and there is completely no tread left on this tire, and you could hear it going around here all the way around the track. And I told one of the guys, I said, you can tell when it's our car. I can turn my back to the crew, and I can tell you which car is ours just by the sound of the noise. And sure enough, all the treads were gone on that one side. 10 hours is a long time racing a car. And even with the hour-long stop we did, we ended up 19th. It was a lot of fun. I would love to do it if they invited me again, but I don't know if I could build my own car. But after the race, this guy comes up. He's got 2 teeth. Apparently lives at Road America. His name is Ducky. He goes, how'd you guys do? I said, I think we did 19th. Jimmy comes up. Everybody knows him but me. No, everybody knows this guy. And he's got this jug of purple something. You want a swig of some moonshine? What the hell? It's been a long day. Took a swig. Strongest stuff out there, but let me tell you, that stuff, it's just so warm. So warm. It felt so good. And I was like, I got a 6-hour drive home back home. I really shouldn't have any more, but man, that was good. Especially after a 10-hour race, hit the spot.